like you.
packaged.
Yeah, not really tight. More loose and sloppy. Itsy bitsy Eldrazi went up the Aether spout. Down came the walkers and washed the Eldrazi out. Along came Bolus and dried up Ugin's eye, and the itsy bitsy Eldrazi went up the blind eternities again.
Nice. You are correct. I do love that song. You are. He said it before we started recording. I'm gonna love this, and I do. I sing that to the boys, but I do. I don't know. Do you do that? The tickling, like.
You do whatever you can to entertain them.
I wouldn't call Eldrazi itsy bitsy necessarily.
Itsy bitsy. No, actually that follows the storyline of Zendikar. I actually have a second version for Battle for Zendikar
nice.
and Shadows of Innistrad. That'll come out
Baba Black Sheep.
No, that's no, not that one. But you'll know the other song as well, which will be awesome.
That was amazing. So Itsy Bitsy Spider by I have no idea who that'd be by.
I believe
Mother
it
Goose?
was
Mother Goose.
Aesop Fables.
Oh,
or
yeah, it would be.
I don't know if that's accurate either.
Yeah, we're trying to. Anyways, welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
I'm Lowry Smith.
Gan cousins. We're Gan cousins.
We're grand cousins. Grand old time.
This is episode number 22.
It is, isn't it?
We have actually a lot on our schedule today, but first let's do our normal. You can follow us on Twitter, CommanderSmiths.
And you can email us.
Which we got emails.
People know how to do it. It's real. CommanderSmiths@gmail.com.
We got like three or four
we
emails.
Got four
emails this week. It was just like everybody decided, we feel bad for them.
Yeah. I understand that they're pity emails, but it also means I can't do the self-deprecating jokes anymore. So
that was pretty awesome. All of a sudden, it's just like I was like, "Hey, did you see that email? I think it's more directed towards you."
It was like 3 days old.
Crap.
And I was like, wow, what happened?
And then you can also subscribe to us on YouTube. We got a couple people there. So yeah, that's our main places you can find us right now. But this episode, we got a lot on the docket today. Yeah. What do we got going today?
So we want to talk a little bit about, we have magic news. Just
magical news,
a short snippet. They gave some information for Commander 2018 coming out here in August 10th.
Yep.
And then we have
Commander Spotlight.
Yeah.
Going into, which one are we doing? We're doing one of the Elder.
Veavictis Asmadi, the Dire.
Yeah.
And I call this deck the Dire from the Shire.
Nice. Do you have some hobbits in there?
No, there's no Kithkin.
Then what the hell why is it the Shire?
It rhymes. That's what we're about.
So then we go from Commander Spotlight, and then we go into our Just the Tips. We're actually going to answer a few of those emails that we got, the questions that they had. We thought they were actually really good questions, and figured we'd share the info with everybody. And then, of course, we finish off the episode.
You didn't have to make that hand gesture.
They didn't see it.
Yeah, I did, though. It's like exactly, yeah. Oh, jeez. Now you're adding sound effects?
It's your masturbating
No, that's
sound.
yours. You did it. They have never heard me do this.
Boop, 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 boop. I wish I could see that visual, too.
I'm just disappointed.
Not mad, just disappointed.
Smith Specs of the Week,
There we go. Smith Specs of the Week is our finishing this episode off with. Why don't we dive right into our magical news this week? Actually, like Lowry was talking about, the Commander kind of spoiler-ish.
So they let us know what the colors are going to be and what those colors are going to be doing out of the 4 decks.
It's kind of interesting. I like that they involved artifacts as one of the colors. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and they've been working with artifacts being colored since, Shards of Alara. So I think it's what they should be doing.
So yeah, we have 4 Commander sets,
and they're going to be $40 a piece per deck this year.
And we have Izzet, Jund, Band, and Esper are going to be our 4 Commander colors. We have blue, red, which that will have the artifacts in it.
Yep, that's going to be artifact theme.
And it looks like it's called Exquisite Invention.
Yeah, that looks like it's probably too big of a word for actually what's happening, but that's fine.
And then
Jund is going to be lands. themed, and it's going to be Nature's Vengeance.
And then we have Bant, which is going to be enchantments themed, and that's adaptive, and God, I can talk. Adaptive enchantment. So enchantments is actually in the word there.
Yeah, it should be fine. And then for Esper, you have Top of the Library Matters.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Which is Subjective Reality, the name of it.
And they have some art that they started to release with this. I don't know. Do you think these are going to be like, these are just cards and it's not actually the commanders necessarily? Some of them look like they could be.
I don't think you're going to have like a red-green legendary spider or anything. I think it's just like the coolest art that they got.
Man, that girl, there's a girl in the swamp with like, it looks like the Will-o'-the-Wisp kind of thing.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
She is freaking creepy as hell in there.
Got some like dead moths, like Silence of the Lambs butterflies going around her.
Yeah, so the art's pretty dang sweet. I don't know, I get the feeling there's one with go on, Goldfish has a good connection, or actually we'll
get a link underneath.
But there's one that this gal's pouring water, and it reminds me of the gods, and I think it might be a god.
It'll definitely be like something Theros, and it'll be in the enchantment deck, adaptive enchantments. I'm worried about some of the decks a little bit.
Why is that?
I think the artifact one's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, artifacts are just awesome, and that's going to be an easy one. But, like, adaptive enchantments, like, makes me feel like you're going to be playing auras and then, like, switching them from creature to creature randomly. Like, there are some cards that do that. Like, that's how it's adapting, and you're just like... Those cards suck. They're not good. So I'm afraid
maybe
that's
it's some new stuff though, new mechanics that they introduced.
It could be, but and I'm sure that they're going to do something.
I mean,
like
each
that.
year we've had the commander sets have gotten better and better and better that you can just play them right out of the box.
And so maybe with the Theros art, maybe they make add some more bestow cards, and they're just better bestow cards, because before they were just way overcosted.
Or maybe we get the totem armor again.
That'd be really cool. I'd be happy about totem armor.
Yeah.
Or Umbra.
Yeah.
Umbra.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm excited. It's our little tease. This is our Christmas. This is when Commander gets revealed.
the big stuff right here.
Yeah,
and we'll get excited about.
We're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but that kind of kicked our ass this week because eBay did that 15% off, and we were like, all right, should we buy the box? Because we were going to get them for $99. And then by the time I was going to check out, they were sold out. So then I went and tried to pick them up, and they were $20 more.
People are faster than us.
And then by the time I checked out, it was freaking those were sold out. So these are going to sell like crazy. But yeah, we have a little tip with that later when we get to just the tips. Oh, nice. Is that the sound that the tip makes?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, gross. All right.
Yeah. That's what I was just like imagining. I'm like, yeah, that's impressive if you can make that noise.
All right. Let's move on to Commander Spotlight.
Yeah.
A spotlight deck.
Veavictis. All right. So, Lowry, how do we want to do this? How is this deck kind of situated?
So what I'm doing with the deck is I'm trying to make the ability of Veavictis Asmadi like become a benefit for you.
So those of you that haven't gone and looked at all the Elder Dragons, which I'm sure everybody already has, but just so you know, he's 3 black, red, and green, and he's a flying 6/6 Elder Dragon. When he attacks, for each player, choose target permanent that player controls, which also includes yourself.
Yep.
Target player sacrifices those permanents. Each player who sacrifices a permanent this way reveals the top card of the library, then puts it onto the battlefield if it's a permanent card. So you're destroying the stuff on the battlefield.
Yeah, the best permanents of your opponents and the worst of yours.
And it can be land.
You can. It's any permanent
Gaia's
on the battlefield.
Cradle.
Well, that's what I would do. Yeah. No, I'll leave Gaia's Cradle around. No, it's going down. But like, it's one of the things that you got to think about a little bit is if you're allowing this just to be random. The best chance that you're going to get is just flipping a land.
Yeah, getting them to flip a land.
Yeah, well, even yourself, if you're going random, the highest percentage chance is just you're going to get a land because that's the most of a permanent type that you have in the deck.
So we haven't discussed about how this deck goes. So can I kind of guess? It's more of you're manipulating the top of your deck by what you're saying right there. So you're setting yourself up so that when you kill whatever you're going to kill of yourself, that
Mm-hmm.
boom, the big guy comes out, or the game winner comes out, or the combo comes out.
Yeah, again, I don't really play
Not
combo,
not
but
infinite combo, but something that works together. That
yeah, and so like I did get to play this with a couple of friends this past week, and
Lucky.
it was really fun.
Son
It
of
was
a
a really
bitch.
fun game.
you can't play without
or
me.
games. I can. I'm cheating on you.
Yeah, you are.
But
Who is she?
well, it's two guys. Don't worry about it.
Oh, nice.
Don't worry about it. So
Both those holes get filled.
oh boy. Boop boop boop.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from there.
And so what probably the most important thing in this deck is the top of your library manipulation.
So yeah, that's a majority of your cards.
I
here.
have a ton there, and that goes from like the big boys that are almost always in your deck with Sensei's Divining Top, Sylvan Library, Miri's Guile.
You have 16 manipulating your top
Yeah.
of your deck, which is awesome. I mean, that's in a normal deck. That's pretty sweet to have a lot of manipulation to the top. But to have 16 of them, that's really going to be awesome for setting things up. I think it's funny because remember we talked about green with our cord cards for Commander, and you were like, I never have Sylvan Library and Miri's Guile in the same deck.
Yeah.
Boom, they're in that. But
this
it's
is- but it's
understandable.
super
It
important,
sits-
yeah.
It fits with what you're trying to do. But it's funny that we had just talked about that, and then you're like, I've never done that.
I don't-
Boom,
I don't
they're
do
in
that.
there now.
And so some like important cards are like
Well, you have your three, the two I just discussed, and then Sensei's top, and then go
Yeah.
with the other ones.
So you have like I think two unique ones that I've actually wanted to build around for a while are
Two Tau, is that how you say
yeah,
it?
we can do that.
Honored Physician, and that's 1 and 2 green.
And basically it's a creature that before attacking you tap it and you can put a creature from your graveyard on top of your library,
Nice. And then you have Haunted Crossroads.
which is pay a black and put a creature on top of your library from your graveyard.
yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And so with those like and then another one very similar to that, which is a land. It's kind of expensive,
Yeah.
but it's really good.
Volrath Stronghold. Yeah, this is what is it, a $20, $30 card?
I want to say 30-40 at this
Is it?
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a black colorless and tap the land, and then it you put a creature from your graveyard on top of your library.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
And so you have a little bit of consistency there. If they're killing your creatures, you're able to just kind of get it back. You almost don't like if they're trying to kill your commander, you don't almost like in this deck you don't have to even put it back in your command zone. You just draw it the next turn and pay 6.
Oh yeah, because you're
You have
setting
enough
yourself up.
consistency to be able to do that. Some easy cards that I would go through, like you have Noxious Revival
Oh yeah,
and Reclaim.
really quick. Volrath's is up around 60.
Oh geez, yep. So
That's
I
why I
got it
don't have
around
that
like
card.
20. Yeah. So like Noxious Revival and Reclaim, and there's also a card called Salvage from Portal. Those are just 1 green, and they put a card, any card from your library, or any card from your graveyard on top of your library.
Mm-hmm. So when you're doing this, are you? What are you targeting normally for your stuff? Are you putting out tokens at all? Are you targeting your land? What kind of things are you trying to sacrifice? Are you doing some recursion
I
stuff?
would say that's probably the biggest problem. So, okay, I'll answer that last one, recursion. I'm trying not to play Reanimator.
Okay.
And I'm also, like, I didn't do anything Reanimator, and I didn't do anything like putting big creatures from your hand into play.
Mm-hmm.
And because those were things that definitely came up. And I was just like, well, I could do this, but then it's not helping Veavictis Asmadi. And so I just cut those cards completely.
Okay.
Elvish
Piper?
Elvish Piper's not in there, and cards like that.
Okay.
So I'm trying to basically only be playing cards from the
Top of your
my
library.
library.
So it's kind of like when I built Grenzo, where I was only trying to play stuff from the bottom
From
of
the
my
bottom,
library.
exactly.
So everything's set to go to my graveyard or go to the bottom of the library. So I like that. I like that setup. So you're not...
And so some things that you want to look at a little bit. Remember, scrying helps you
Yeah.
with the top of your deck. The tutors help you. There's actually like the Harbingers from Lorwyn, and there's new ones from Rivals of Ixalan that'll go and search for certain cards. So it depends on whatever you're playing in there. But I went with like Giant Harbinger, and that allows me to go and get the Black and Red Titans, which are sweet.
Yeah. So one card, I'm looking at your minute or your look at the top card kind of stuff here. One card I've been wanting to try to put in decks, and I always end up cutting it, but this works perfect in here, is Aid from the Cowl.
Yep.
And I've just never been able to... That always gets cut kind of early on when I've tried to do, but I've wanted to play with this card.
And this is exactly what... Because you actually... If you get to attack with the Dire, that'll trigger.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have the Dire in play to attack, you can still be able to get that to trigger.
Yeah. So then a couple of the other ones, you have Lurking Predators... that's what, whenever an opponent casts a spell, look at the top card.
Reveal a top card if its creature comes into play.
Okay. And then Vizier of, what is that?
The Menagerie.
Menagerie.
Menagerie Trois.
That's where I was going.
That's not the right way of using it.
Menagerie Trois. That's like
so you get to you can
multiple
look at,
menage a trois, menageries.
That's not. But that card, you can always look at the top of your library at any time, and then you can play creature card or cast creature cards from the top of your library.
I like this card. I think I have one, but I like this as like
it's a pretty cool card, yeah.
and like in the future here. In the future, yes, we're not going in the past and specking because that'd be amazing. No, it wouldn't. All right, we're gonna cut that part out.
Probably not.
Nope.
If we haven't cut other things, we're cutting that.
And then your last one of that is Call of the Wild.
That's 2 green, 2 colorless. Reveal the top card if it's a creature. You put it into play. And since you're almost always going to know what's on top of your library, you know when to use it, and you're going to be cheating some fatties into play. Some cards I do want to talk about still with manipulating the top, just real quick. If you can go out and get Scroll Rack, it's a great card in general, and it's perfect in this deck. And then a little bit more...
Library of Lenge.
Yeah, Library of Lenge is really kind of cool because the drawing in this deck is based off of like Wheel of Fortune style. So like Faithless Looting, draw 2, discard 2, Doretti, discard. Then if you can actually discard big creatures to the top of your library with Library of Lenge.
Set your top up.
And then you can... Yeah. So it's really works well when you have that style of draw in the deck.
So then what's our next package here? What are we looking at here?
Those are going to be the big permanents that you're trying to cheat into play.
Oh, okay.
And so this one, when you're looking at tapped out, I think this one is definitely where you can be switching cards in and out.
Yeah.
I kind of just went with experimental creatures at this point.
Ooh, you got Archfiend in there.
Actually, and that's the one I wanted to highlight the best. Like, that card's amazing.
Yeah, this card is pretty ridiculous. So it's 6 and 2 black. It's from Battle Bond. So this is one of the cards from Battle Bond. The foils went crazy because it's the only time it's been printed. Flying when your opponents can't gain life. You can still gain life, though. And it's... at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life loss that player lost that turn. So
if you're able to get in with your dragon for 6 damage, it's actually 12 if you're cheating that into play.
Yeah, and then it checks everybody at the end of their turn. So if another player does damage to a different player, boom, they lose that again.
It ends up being really well, and it hates on life gain as well. Some other cards that I really like in there was like That Betrays.
Mm-hmm. It's because then when they're sacrificing, you're getting their permanents.
Yeah, anything that's coming back to you. Like I said, you have Inferno and Grave Titan in there.
I like that you put Void Winnower in there because I want to get this to go in more of our decks.
I agree. That's kind of why it's here, because I think it's cool, but I don't know how good it is.
Side note, really quick, before I forget about it. One thing I do want to implement at some point is we don't use the Monarch thing. Is that right? It was a Matrix.
Yeah, no,
Monarch. I want to get that. I've never seen Monarch been played.
I think it'd be really cool in Commander, but yeah, we haven't seen it.
It just because you had the conspiracy and whatever. Sorry, that just made me think of it, and I was like, before I forget about mentioning that, I wanted to say it. I don't know, because I like Void Winnower's ability with the evens and all that stuff, so that made me think of the Monarch stuff.
Okay.
Sidetrack. Anyways.
Yeah. So it was just kind of like experimental creatures, and I was trying to hit certain things. There are some creatures in there like Woodfall Primus and Wormcoil Engine that allow you to actually sacrifice the big ones and then still have value after that.
And then Platinum
Empyrean is really sweet because you can, if they do kill it, you're generally going to be able to bring it back.
Yeah.
And so like you can do it at the beginning of the game, and then they just can't really hurt you. If you do it at the end, they got to have an answer for it.
Yeah. I like this. I like them all. I like that. It's interchangeable, like you said. You can pick. Anybody could take the 10, 15 big fatties there and put whatever ones you kind of want in there, because they're just, when they get out, they're pretty brutal to deal with. So they're going to be badass with it. Next one. What are we dealing with here? We got a couple Scrylands in there. Yeah,
that wasn't in the right place. So those are the wheeling effects. So
gotcha.
Those are your draw spells. So like I had mentioned before, I'll just do it real quick. You got Duretti, you have Faithless Looting, Magus of the Wheel,
Reforge the Soul, which is the miracle Wheel of Fortune,
and then Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
So those cards, like I was saying, are great with Library of Lang, but also they just get you to see more cards, and you have enough stuff that brings stuff from, or permanents from your graveyard on top to your library, so wheeling is not a bad thing either.
Yep. And then you have your Mono Rocks. You got 6 Mono Rocks, your typical Signets, Monocrypt, and Soul Ring and Fellwar Stone.
Yep. Pretty basic and simple right there. Then
we move into your protection stuff. We got 5 of those. So you have Lightning Greaves, Heroic Intervention, which I love that card. Swiftfoot Boots. Now this one,
asceticism. Yeah.
I like that. That's actually probably going to go on my wall deck too. That's what I was thinking.
You can't copy me.
Yeah,
no.
I can. And then you got Anger,
which I consider haste.
Okay. Kind of a protection.
Yeah, so it allows you still get one in at least for the most part.
All right, and then were these piles supposed to be together?
They were separate. We can do the one.
The little one.
The little one.
So you got Kerkeep.
So that Kerkeep is a land, and that allows you to put a 0/1 creature into play.
So there's your sacrifice.
So that's
engine.
a sacrifice one, and then
Ugin's Nexus.
And that's an artifact for 5?
Yep. If a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips it. If it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, instead exile and take it.
Exactly. So you have something that stops people from taking extra turns, and then when you sacrifice it to the Dire, you get to take an extra turn.
Oh, I see. You took a little bit of my coin flip idea stuff here.
No, it's not.
Seize the Day and Aggravated Assault.
Yeah, they're
double attacking. It makes it so you can do it twice.
So and actually, it's not really like a kill condition where you're getting the flips, but
it's making it so it
allows you to get more hits in with the triggered ability.
Doing your trigger, the same thing, making your trigger happen twice, and then Strionic Resonator,
which also doubles.
That was in my deck, and then I cut that one.
Did you?
I think I did. I don't know. You put it in
your
for
coin
me.
Flipping, or
the coin flip. All right, and then we move in. Wait, is this our last file?
Yeah.
Okay, these are your extras. Those are your normal ones that should be in there anyways.
Super unique.
All right, cool.
The 2 other things right here are pretty you can go a lot deeper on this one if you want, but it's looking at opponents' hands or permanents. And then putting them on top of their library.
Okay, so you can kind of set up their stuff.
Yeah, so it can't. So
you can set it up where you're putting a land or something that isn't a permanent on top of their library.
Exactly, with agonizing memories.
Then making them sacrifice or killing something, and then they actually don't get the exile or the card
trigger
that comes
coming into play.
Yeah.
So and then the other one was Plow Under.
Yep.
Plow Under is putting 2 lands in play on top of their library. So that. Who cares if they get a land?
Think of that, though. You go 2 lands, exile 1 of their other lands. Now they're down 3 lands. Well, they'll get one of those back. So, but still, you're wiping out a land. That could be pretty
Plow Under is a solid card. If some people are going to hate the land removal with it, but with the Dire, if you're not going after people's lands, it's not as bad. You paid 5, they get that one of their lands back, but then you're getting rid of one of their worst permanents. So. I was thinking it's not nearly as bad for kind of the hate part of it.
So what were some of your strengths and weaknesses of your little play that you did? You played a couple games. How many games? I
ended up playing 3 with it, but the first game technically didn't count, and I told you about that one.
But what happened with that?
So I went Mana Crypt into Fellwar Stone into Soul Ring into Lightning Greaves with the Scry land. And so I got to scry that land, and it was a land on top, draw the land, play it, put down Steel Hellkite, attack with Lightning Greaves on turn 2.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then turn 3, I was playing the Dire, and the two guys were just like, yeah, let's stop this. And so I was like, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But then the other games, they understood the power of
So
it.
then
And
they
they're
just
like,
killed
okay.
you, or not killed you, but they targeted you.
The second game I did win, but I was at 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I had Platinum Empyrean in, and I killed off one guy, and then the other guy was down to like 17 cards in his library. And so the guy who had lost thumbed through his library. He's like, let me see your hand. He doesn't have any way of dealing with it.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
So it was...
Yeah. But he was going to be able to like tap down my whole crew, so I wasn't going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, but he was going to get decked after 17 turns.
And he couldn't do anything about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So, but the deck feels really like you start throwing out big guys really quick with the tutors.
So you said your problem, the thing that you felt was a little weak was that you run out of things to sacrifice, or you don't have easy sacrifices.
That part can be a little bit troublesome. Like when I'm gold fishing with it, I do sometimes end up hitting like my lands or mana rocks, just to try and get the trigger, and that's when you're really struggling, and you're probably going to be in trouble anyway. And so like cards like I have Kalitas in there, or just stuff that kind of makes random tokens, or It That Betrays, or Grave Betrayal that gives you their permanence. Yeah. So you do want to look for stuff that gives you value when it dies. And so I tried to keep away from like the cards that I used in Krav, because it's a little bit similar to Krav, where when you have something die, you want to get the value out of it. But I wanted to stay away from like the little incremental value and just go big with it. So sometimes you just end up with like big permanents and big creatures in play and land. And so you're just like, well, what the hell am I getting rid of on this next one? So that can be a little bit of a problem, but you're generally going to have the biggest couple things on the board, and you better start winning the game after that.
Nice.
So
yeah, I like it's a different approach of that. Commander can do different, like you can do different styles with it, because I think I probably would have built the completely different deck, and that one I like that how you built that style of deck. You're setting up your top more, so I think a lot of people might do it where they have tokens that they're just trying to get lucky, but setting up your top will be a lot more consistent.
Yeah, and
for
that's
what you want to get.
And like I was saying earlier, I have found like if I'm just trying to get lucky, it's freaking always a land.
Oh,
so yeah, it's
trying to get
it
lucky.
Yikes.
Excuse me.
You're going to be around your wife's family for a week here, right?
I know.
Better calm down. Get this out of your system.
Oh, man, yeah. It's going to be a week, and we either have to be very quiet. Anyways.
Yeah, please.
So
please go into more detail.
Yeah, so I can't wait to get my deck done so we can actually do some battling of ours.
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun.
So my plan is I kind of scrapped my original idea with the...
I know what I would do if I was building your deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's probably going to be better than whatever you come up with.
Right.
Boom.
What a douche. You're drunk. Yes, we get to drink a beer.
I was a dickhead. All right, so I brought up this pretty good beer. It's from Surly
Do you just
Brewing.
be a dickhead just so you can drink beer? Is that
Sometimes.
what it is?
Sometimes. So this is...
You're going to be with Kirsten, and she's going to be like, why are you being such a dick? Oh, it's because I want to drink a beer. I thought that's how I have to drink.
Practice.
Go get sorry.
So this one's called Mosaic Kettle Sour, and it is
sour
thoroughly
beer.
enjoyable.
I like sour beer. Is it sour?
Well, you're gonna have to try it.
Yeah, it's sour in the name.
I'm not gonna spoil it here.
Well, that's what we do. We spoil things.
No, we
on
only spoil
CommanderSmiths.
cards, not beers. But
what's going to kind of stink is I've been drinking an Angry Orchard today just because I know. A cider beer.
Wash your mouth out.
Yeah, this is going to be really...
beer.
Thank you. This is going to be a different taste than what I've been drinking.
First taste doesn't count.
Oh, that's not bad. I like it.
I feel like that's a pretty common reaction for you at this point.
Mm-hmm. I like beer. And like I said before...
Wow, you didn't bring up something absolutely awful.
Like, Cindy even opened up a beer today. It was Sam Adams. It was one of the special ones. And she had a taste, and she's like, "Oh, that's disgusting." I was like, "All right, let me taste it." I drank it. I was like, "Oh, that's not bad." Like, I can drink it. It just depends on if I'm going to be able to down it. Those are different kinds of beers. I like these. Like I said on the other episode, I like sippers. So this is a sipper drink. Since we did that, why don't we move into our next segment? Right? Or were you done with the? You have a little bit more?
No, that's good for Commander Spotlight. Right
Okay,
there.
cool. I like it. I can't wait to see it and kill it.
So we'll have a link to that on tappedout.net. It actually almost looks like some people have already seen it. So
oh really?
Yeah,
you
can kind of see how many people look at it, and so it was like when I checked on like Wednesday or Thursday, there was already like 7 people looking at it.
Oh geez.
So
nice. So what do we want to get into this? So this week we actually, like we talked about earlier,
we actually got a couple of emails.
We got a few emails. Where do we want to start with? Do we want to start with the...
I think we go into shipping, dealing with shipping and like kind of working out whatever numbers we have.
Okay. So we want to start with the how we ship it and everything. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So actually, this question came from David, and he was asking how we ship, basically how we cut back on shipping, cut back on shipping costs, and basically how we ship our packages. I do a lot more sales. Lowry does a lot of the trading. Oh, how do you do for the trading?
I do a lot more trading.
I'm curious about how you actually package your package.
Package my packages. I have multiple.
Tightly
just like you.
Packaged.
Yeah, not really tight. More loose and sloppy.
There's our sounder. Loose and sloppy.
So I try and have a little bit of a range. Like I don't send out cards that are under $1. It's not worth my time. No. And even if I'm sending out a trade package, I try and have my trade package at least over $4. And that just kind of feels like a good range. So I know that most of the cards that I'm trading away, I bought for like either 20 cents or 50 cents. And then I know that I'm trading cards away that are over $1. So each one's clearing 50 to 80 cents. And if I can get 4 or 5 cards in there, I'm clearing about $3.50, $4 minus shipping. And right in there, I'm not worried about like tracking or anything.
Yeah.
So the tracking is what kind of gets expensive in the bigger packages in the U.S., which is something that we'll try and discuss a little bit.
Yep.
So, a stamp is like, what, 48 cents?
50 now.
Is it 50?
Yep.
All right. Well, I bought all my Forever stamps at 48 cents. And like a small envelope, I think I equaled it out. It was like 11 cents per. And so you roughly know that it's like 60 cents to send out in that package. If you don't have any hard cases, just go buy some cards. You'll get hard cases in the mail for free, and then just start using them.
So that's part of my tip with everything too. Is,
I have never bought hard cases.
Yep. You don't. If you are speccing after a couple months of speccing, if you're new to it or if you've been doing it, save every packaging thing that you get. Not everything with it, but everything that deals with the card. You get the penny sleeves, the hard casing, and then the. I just call them foldy sticky.
Yeah, I don't even use them, and I keep them all.
You keep all of those, and you'll never have to buy those ever again, because I have boxes and boxes, and I'm using them, and I've been selling cards like crazy over the last couple of weeks, especially with the wall stuff. Now those are starting to go crazy.
And you should have grown up with this, this mantra of reduce, reuse, recycle. So we're in the reuse part. You should be doing that.
So along the same lines of what you're saying, actually, David's initial question is asking, how do we get a profit of under $5? So you were talking about
So this is exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm making sure that I'm buying really low, and I'm not. I don't sell or trade away cards. I don't even list cards under $1. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Just hold on to it. If you think it's a good card, understand that if you believe it's a good card and you have a bunch of them, hold on to it until it's a proper price.
So on that, when I talked about the stuff, I don't think it was last week. I think it was the week before, where I was like, these are the failed specs, and I was talking about how actually, if you look on eBay and check, you might be the only person that's listing it. You can sell it, even though you can buy it on TCG for 40 cents. You can sell it on eBay for $3, $4. And how you make a profit with that is exactly what Larry was just saying. All the stuff you reuse. What ends up happening, here's how my sales go. Anything that's under $20, this is basically what I do. I take the card, put it in a penny sleeve, put that inside of the hard case. Do
you reverse it where the open part of the sleeve is down?
I don't, but what I do is
do that, yeah.
That second, the pocket sleeve that has the sticky on it. Mm-hmm. You put that in there, and then you tightly get that on there so the card won't come out. It just hits the pocket sleeve if it's going to come out.
Okay. And I use a piece of tape for that. Yeah,
so that's better that you have it flipped around, because I actually did that like a year or two ago when I used to trade on Puka, and I put it on there and I put a piece of tape over it, but it wasn't open on the top. And I've had this happen when I've opened a package. The card came out of that and stuck to the tape. And they said it kind of wrecked the card a little bit.
Yeah.
So the only time, and that gets into my above $20, I package them differently. So after I put them in that pocket sleeve, I tightly put it on there so that the card, if it comes out of the sleeve and out of the hard case, it's just hitting that. So it's not getting anywhere. Then from real estate, I have a bunch of paper that I save whenever I use the backside of it. I take that and I kind of make I take the card, put it in the middle of the piece of paper, and I fold it all around tightly.
So it's like an envelope inside the envelope?
Exactly, yep.
Okay.
Because what I've come across early in my sending cards is there's two things that happen with the post office. One is the machine sometimes can catch
and then spit it out the
and
envelope.
kick it out. Yep.
Yeah.
Or two, you have, not saying this always happens, but you have an employee that sees that it's a card and they slit your package, the envelope, take the card out and leave everything in there.
Yeah, which is bullshit if that does happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I've had empty packages where you see it's cut where they actually opened it up. But so this is why I put the paper part involved, because then I take that, tape it closed, and I put a piece of tape on that, and when I put it in the envelope, I tape it to the envelope. So even if that gets caught on their machines, it won't leave the envelope because it's taped down.
And that's I used to wrap my trades in paper, and then I just kind of stopped. And so what I do is I just do a piece of tape to the hard case and then tape it to the envelope, and I haven't had a problem in a year.
So you can do it. I just got more paranoid because I felt like it was
happening a lot. Yeah,
I got a lot
6 months.
A lot of shipments that just weren't getting there, or they'd get it and it was empty, or I would get mine and they were empty. So I started doing that, and it doesn't take long. I told David too. It was like, this only takes me about 2 to 3 minutes from the time the order's done. I go. This also includes...
And so everything under $20 goes into an envelope with no tracking.
Right. No tracking. It goes just with a stamp. Most of those haven't spent that much money anyways, and they've jumped up and normally have other copies.
And so the loss isn't nearly as bad. And so you're almost doing like a calculated loss. Like, okay, so if this doesn't work, or the
one every 50
like
maybe gets lost if that happens. I haven't, knock on wood, I don't have wood near... There we go.
That's wood.
I tapped my penis. No, I didn't. It was the chair.
He did not. He did not.
Because that would have been weird if you're like, yep, that's wood. But 1 in 50. I mean, I've sent out a whole bunch of them. It's over 1 in 200 right now. If one of them got lost, just saving on that stamp instead of $266 is what the eBay shipping would be. And I'll get into that in a second. So yeah, that's how I ship it. You got to make sure that when you do the folds over with the paper, get it tight, because if it gets too thick, they will send it back to you.
Yeah. You don't want it to be too thick or too heavy. I keep hitting the goddamn stand. So you actually, there's a certain amount of weight that you can that is allowed in and on the envelope.
And it's mainly the ridges is what they get, where I've gotten kicked back to me.
Okay.
And that hasn't happened for a while because I've actually tightened it. But what I figured is this shipping is 1 to 4 cards. If you're getting over the 4 card mark, you're starting to get too thick because it won't fit in the plastic sleeve by itself, and you almost have to get 2 of those plastic cases.
And that's where what I do is I get a longer sleeve, and so like you can roughly, if you have a longer envelope.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that's
and
another
then
trick.
You can get two
of those
hard
on there.
cases in there.
Right.
And you can get up to roughly 6 cards.
6 to 8. Yeah, I would say.
I think 8's
4.
too much when I did
For weight-wise?
Weight-wise,
Okay.
yeah. Because I put it on like a scale, and it's just like I'm within like 0.01 of it, and you're just like, okay, I still need to tape this down. That might add something. So I don't, if you want to push it, I don't know offhand how much the weight is. I just know like I don't want to go over about 6 cards within an envelope.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's generally it's most of the time it's one, and actually this week is the first week I've been getting multiples because everybody's like, I want walls, and I have about 40 different walls that are posted on eBay. They're buying a bunch,
cool.
So then I'll be sending more. So now when we get to the $20 or more, it's a little bit different. Those I buy the eBay through eBay because you get the tracking, and it's $266. Where if you go to the post office, it's $3 something to ship those. So you get a little discount because you do it through eBay.
Mm-hmm.
That I put in those what are they? The little bubble wrap envelopes where they're
they're like paper on the outside, bubble wrap on the inside.
Yeah, 4x7 small bubble mailers, and actually you can get 10 of those at Walmart for $5. And I bet you could get them cheaper online if you wanted. But
yeah, that's a pretty good price.
Was pretty cheap. But so then the difference I do with $20 orders or more is I do what you were talking about is I double sleeve. So you put the card in the sleeve. Oh no, you didn't double sleeve. You put it opposite way, right? Is what you said.
Yeah, I just opposite it.
So there are different sleeve sizes. If you get the ones where it's the colored sleeves compared to the clear sleeves, the colored sleeves are typically smaller. So you put your card in that, flip it upside down, put it in the clear sleeve, and then I'll put that in the hard case. Then I will tape it because now the card is not facing, like if it slides out, it can't slide out because it's only on the penny
the
sleeves.
one that you use is a bit smaller, right? Like it almost fits the card for the bubble mailer. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the ones that I buy are a bit bigger. And so actually I don't go through all of that part. What I end up doing is using old bubble mailer, and like I tear it up and then I wrap that around the hard case and then put it in the bubble mailer.
Oh, okay.
So it's like thicker, but it's like double padded.
How much does that normally cost you for shipping?
Same price.
Is it?
Yeah. Because it doesn't weigh anything. And the bubble mailers are all about weight.
Yep.
And sometimes I've had it where they reject me because it's not enough. Like I need more weight within that package.
And that's why eBay's kind of nice that's one of the problems where if I brought it in, sometimes I've had that where they're like, this needs to be bigger for you to ship it. eBay, you just print it off and put it right on there.
Yeah, I always go into the post office, but it also like I never have a problem. I never have it returned, and then they're like, yep, that looks good. That's working. I've done international shipping, and you have to fill out customs forms and stuff like that. So they help you with that.
Then everything else follows the same thing. I use a piece of tape, and then you got to do the courtesy tape where you fold one end because I hate that.
Yeah,
I
totally
get so
agree.
many of those where I'm like, ah, damn, I got to use my damn fingernail to cut it.
So on one side it's flat, and obviously that's what you want, and then on the other side you just do a little fold like a 1/4 inch so that part doesn't stick.
It's just
and
a
then
courtesy tape.
It gives you something to grab onto to pull.
Yeah.
And make it a clean pull away, and the tape doesn't stay there.
Because I've had some where it's so like taped so tight that I can't even get my fingernail in there to do it. I'm like trying to rip it apart without messing with the card.
I have
or whatever.
a knife right next to all my stuff, so I can just, because I don't have nails.
Yeah, I have
OCD.
So then everything else follows the same. So then after that, it goes in the pocket sleeve with the stickiness. I still put the paper on it just for extra packaging, and then I just stick that in the small bubbler. I do not tape it to the bubbler, the small bubbler, because now it's not going through the machine anymore. It's being handled differently.
And I've only had one problem with bubble mailers before, and that one sucked. It was like a $70 trade, and it got lost, and I had tracking on it. And I was like, it's fucking right here. And they're like, we don't see it. And I'm like, God damn it. It had like dark depths in there and some...
I actually just had that happen with the Galtas when you spec'd on the promo ones. Mine, I can still see where they are.
Yeah,
they're like at this post office and haven't left there. And the guy's like, "Well, give it another week. Give it another week." after a month and a half, he's like, all right, I'll give you your money back. And so they're still just sitting there. He like tried to call the post office.
Yeah, and they're
stuff.
just like, can't find it. And all they do is go back, and they're just like,
yeah.
it's lost. That's all that means. They know it.
Yeah. So then that's pretty much for the packaging stuff. So $20 or over in the bubbler, because, you know, that's
I'm trying to think, like, for an envelope, I generally go like $4 to about $12. And then I try and not, like, that's the whole thing. Like, I try and not have any trades in between like 14 to like 18.
You just don't like those numbers.
Well, I feel like it's in my mind, it's a little too risky to be putting into an envelope, but it's not enough to be putting into a bubble mailer.
I actually, no, I get what you're saying.
And
that's
so
a couple of those this week when I
you kind of sweat it out. It's like, I don't want to lose like $20.
Yeah, they were like 14, and I was like, I kind of want to put tracking, but if I do that, I'm losing out on a huge part of this profit. I'll just do a stamp. I got a couple extra.
Because it's all about percentages. Yeah. So we're not high enough volume. Like, we're not Amazon. Amazon only charges like pennies on everything that they charge or everything that they sell. Yeah. But they sell so much that they make, you know, largest company, Jeff Bezos, richest person in the world, you know, yada, yada. It works for him because he has everything. Yeah. To whereas, you know, we're not Card Kingdom. We're not Channel Fireball and those guys. Like,
and most people, I mean, I don't know all what our listeners, but a lot of people are probably along the same lines with how we sell and stuff. You know, I mean, a $15 loss on that is like, oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So that was another email that we had. Was there's Joseph from Canada. He was selling, I believe it was on Face to Face. I don't really know the program very well,
actually.
But he said that when he shipped it, shipping was $15.
Yeah, so that's
and I'm just like, oh yeah, that takes a lot.
So Fast Finance, that's another podcast with they're good guys.
And we've mentioned them a couple times.
They do a good job. But one of the guys is from Canada or lives in Canada, and his shipping, it typically is that $15, $11 to $15. So Joseph,
that's socialism for you. I don't know, but our system's socialism too.
So Joseph had asked, like, how do you, like, what is it, justify paying them, or how do you
how do you make any type of profit off of that kind of shipping? And it's tough.
So if you listen to the Fast Finance podcast, which good show too, listen to that show.
If you're Canadian, that might help you as well. There.
Yeah, but if you listen to those guys, they typically are on the higher end of their specking cards. And I think, I'm not saying that this is why, because I'm just guessing part of it might be because it makes it more worth sending a $150, $300 card or package to somebody, and it costs you $15 to get it over, you know, instead of...
No, it makes sense. Like, let's say you bought your Underground Sea at $500, and then a month later it's up at $800. Well worth the shipping at $15. You still made a couple $100
instead of buying the Sunscape Familiars for 25 cents that I did, and then sell for $4 right now. That's, you're getting charged $15 for that shipping. So yeah, you kind of got to pick your battles, especially if you're in Canada and listening and trying to pick out specs. Any of the specs that we're saying that are only going to go up to $4 or $5 from pennies on the dollar, those aren't probably the ones for you. You're more looking for the specs that are a couple bucks, $5, $10 that are going to jump to 40, 20, 50.
Yeah. So like the
like how I jumped around there. I went 40 and then I came back down to 20 and then went up to 50, then 1,000, and then we're going to go down to 6 and then.
So like Stoneforge Mystic would have been a good spec a couple weeks ago when it was 20. It's a good card. I think you almost want to go for more sure things as well.
Yeah.
You want it to be a bit more stable. Like, you're looking at it and you're going, how is this card not more expensive?
Yeah.
And if you got that, then I would say that's what you buy and spec on and wait for that increase. And I think you want to, you have your percentages that you want to be making money. If you're selling let's say Stoneforge Mystic, you bought it at 20. Let's say it went up to 40, and then you're trying to sell it, and you have $15 shipping. Making $5 on it ain't worth it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're and that's way you don't have enough of a differential there. So like, you want to at least be making like $30 on your card to pay off $15, and that's like low end.
Now, the other thing I just kind of thought of is actually you could still spec on some of those lower end ones if you're doing it as a buy list. So if you're going to sell to Card Kingdom all those cards, but you get it so that it gets to a couple $100, you know, so you're gonna have to sell a mass quantity at the same point.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part.
You still
too.
want to be, but
Yeah,
you're still making that much.
Yep. You're still making that much, but you could potentially spec on these lower end cards. Although, like I've been pointing out, is Sunscape Familiar, 25 cents, selling it for $4 on eBay. You can't buy
get
list that
$4
for you can't get it for. It's still at 25 cents on Card Kingdom.
Is it?
Well, I think it's actually up to 40 cents, but still,
Whew.
that isn't
Sell.
Yeah, exactly. If you have like 5,000 of them, there's a profit.
So what you're saying, yeah, and I would agree with that as well. If you're going in on a low spec card, go with a lot of them.
Yeah, so you're gonna
and I would almost try and
buy
like
listing them.
package them together as like a 4 of.
But see,
stuff
that's
like that, and
it kind of goes against what we've been kind of preaching with stuff is like
don't buy 1,000.
Yeah, because how are you going to sell all those?
And
that's
probably where you're going with Card Kingdom, and you're hoping that you can at least, you know.
So you're playing the buy list game more.
If it's a 25-cent card and it goes up to $1 credit, and you bought, let's say 30, you know, you made some money there if you can sell or credit that back to Card Kingdom.
Yeah.
And that kind of folds into Joseph's second question.
I was about the trend. Damn it, you
I
beat
did
me
it.
to it.
I did it. I'm a professional. And he was asking, like, you know, if you're selling it to a bigger, do you go cash? Do you go credit? And this is more Adam's realm.
So I've done both. It depends on if you have specs that you want to buy. Like Card Kingdom has things that are lower price. So actually, Crypt Gas was one that they had decently priced, and there was a couple other cards at the time, foil ones that I was looking at. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do the credit to get the 30% back, and then I bought on my spec cards.
Mm-hmm.
I've more often than not taken their credit because you get a little bit more, and it's only when I was trying to get what was it? It was the specs for the expedition lands, so I could get them a lot cheaper on TCG than I could on Card Kingdom. So I actually, when I did my trade-in for stuff before I was about to spec on them, I took the cash. You know, I took a couple $100 cash so I could go buy them on TCG, because then it actually outweighed the 30%. I was actually saving 50% by buying on TCG.
Okay.
So kind of weigh your options. See what cards you have. If you have cards that you want to spec on, check and see what their prices are of that card. And if they have quite a bit available, well, then go with the credit from them. And if it's decently priced, compare it to your other places and see the percentages. So that's a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go all of like not five. It's normally eBay, TCG, Card Kingdom are my main ones that I'll have up, and I'll just compare them and see if percentages what works out better. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would do.
I think one thing. A couple more like things that I would talk about it for advice in general is just like, if you don't feel comfortable like trading it or selling it, but you feel like you have to, I would almost say don't. If you really think that's a good card and you think it's going to go higher, believe it. But at the same time, I'll almost contradict myself here. If you're trying to move cards, don't try and get the top price.
Yeah,
you can go underneath a little bit, and your cards are going to move a lot better there. So it's a little bit, it's always different, always changing, and there's all these different sites that you can take advantage of.
Two things with it. One thing I got advice from you once was actually with the Lake of the Deads. So we bought those way back before the spike. We bought them when they were $3-4.
They're cheap.
So then I was looking to dump a couple of them, and I'm like, do I hold it? Do I? It's on the reserve list.
Because they were sitting at like 20.
Yeah. And you're just like, sell, because I think I still had 30 of them. You're like, sell 15 of them or 10 of them. Keep the other ones. Make your money back or more than your money back. And just keep the other ones and wait till those go up. So if you have an opportunity, you have quite a bit of them.
At least
make your money back, and then you can ride out the wave and see if it goes any higher, and you can get more money.
Yep.
But it is always good to try to get. You want specs to go up, of course, but you don't want to hold the spec for 10 years. You want to move that money because your money's just sitting in a card that isn't doing anything. But if you can move it and you can buy some other specs, and every time I get specs, I keep the card, one of the cards I'm specking on. So my collection's getting bigger with the cards that have spiked, and they typically don't go back down unless it's like a standard thing or no longer
damn standard rotation.
But my collection gets bigger and bigger with these more expensive cards because the spikes hit and everything, and then I'm selling them off, going into the other cards and other cards. So my advice would be to try to make it move. So if you do see a spike, if you think it's going to go any higher, do kind of what Lowry has mentioned to me, is sell part of it, make your money back.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I had something else there, too, that would
Sorry,
be helpful.
I talked a lot.
Yeah. Talkie
McTalkerson. Do you want me to talk about one other thing with the eBay special stuff?
Yeah, you can talk about that.
Okay.
And then we still have the
other question that we have.
From Tarragon.
Kind of going in with how I was saying compare with different sites. I think I mentioned it last week, but I'm also going to mention it again. Remember, eBay does not have state taxes, so when you're looking to buy cards, make sure, that's the one thing. eBay, they're doing that 15 to 20% off. It's mainly 15% off. It's almost happening every couple of weeks, it seems like right now.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is have a list of cards that you want to buy, and when that 15% off, it's for your whole order. So have those cards ready to buy up and just get ready to spend it. Because what I did was I wanted the Battle Bond foil lands. And so when this 15% off thing hit, I was putting that's the reason why we missed out on the Commander boxes, is because I was trying to load up on the foil lands of those, and then they were selling up as I was putting them in the cart. And then by the time I figured out, okay, I got a couple of each one of them, boom, I'm going to be done. The boxes were sold out, and then I was frustrated.
Half the foils were sold out.
It was so stupid, because then the boxes were sold out, and then I went back to get another box for the $10, $20 more, and then by the time I was checking out there, the foils were sold out. And I was just like, oh my God! So if you line it up where you're like, you have the cards, and when that sale hits, just jump on it, buy those cards, be committed. You want those cards for this price. Be committed to buy those. Another thing that benefits is you also get eBay bucks. So when they're doing their 15% off thing, you're getting it pretty cheap compared to TCG.
Well, yeah. So let's say state taxes are roughly 6 to 7%, or state and federal taxes in the U.S. here 6 to 7% on purchases, along with your 15% off plus your eBay bucks, like you're just saying. Technically, you're getting roughly 20-21% off plus your eBay buck, versus TCG that has the taxes.
Yeah.
So you almost got to look at it that way, too.
So that's kind of what happened there. Is once I was like, oh, all the eBay ones are gone, I was like, all right, I'll go to TCG. I was like, okay, they're still around the price that I would have got these on eBay. And then I went to go check out, and it was like $30, $40 in state taxes. And I was like, God damn it. Now they're $10 more than I was thinking, so that's where I would say is be aware of what the state taxes, add that in when you're trying to calculate everything out. Take advantage of the eBay stuff, because that is a very good deal, because it goes site-wide and cards move. And actually, that's a good time to also list your cards.
Get your mom a good birthday present as well.
But listing your higher-end cards during that will make your cards move, too, because people are buying. So if it's a hot card that people are looking for, like the Battle Bond lands, boom, you put those on at whatever price, idea. And they.
So one part that I wanted to add in that Joseph was asking was he had just said, if you use credit, what are you speccing on after that? Like, is there a different philosophy for you when you're speccing after you use credit, or are you still going, I want to hit these parts because they're on my list that I believe are going to go up?
So if I have a spec and they have their prices are right, I'll buy that, but sometimes I let the credit just sit there until a spec pops up.
So you don't have to use it right away, you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
So you just let the money accumulate, and it's kind of it's almost the same thing when I sell cards on eBay. I just let my PayPal account accumulate, so until I find a spec that pops up.
That you really...
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened today, where one of my specs today, I realized there was really low inventory of it, and I was like, holy crap, okay, I'm going to spend my PayPal stuff, which I've mentioned before. PayPal is my only, that's Magic. Just everything that goes there is from my Magic account. So nothing came out of my account. I just used off of the 15 Sunscape Familiars I've sold.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That one's, I ship that one at least 2 times a day.
It's amazing in Strategist.
And I guess it's
Arcades.
It's used in a pauper deck too. I actually heard that from Fast Finance. They were mentioning how they do a segment where they talk about what cards have spiked, and most of the time they say, sell that card, get rid of it. But yeah, they talked about the reason why that one is good as well is because it's in a pauper deck.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
and then the last one would be Targon.
Yep. One last thing.
Okay.
With specking and stuff like that, keep an eye on what Goldfish and Command Zone are doing.
I thought we would do that at the beginning
of stuff?
Yeah, for Smith specs.
Okay. Well,
no, we'll just don't say it. Wait until later. Edit it out. So Tarragon's question was about when you're specking, how do you feel about or how do you work around with counterfeits, which is a real thing in Magic Finance that you do kind of have to worry about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's pretty seldom when it comes to counterfeit cards.
Right. And it seems like there's more targets. Like the dual lands are the scary ones.
Dual lands are definitely the scary ones.
That's why I would suggest if you're looking at picking up duels, and I think he had mentioned that that's what he wanted to do as part of it too, wasn't it? Picking up duels. Buy from... You can buy from eBay. eBay's really good with the sellers. If you get something that isn't right, you get your money back and you send the card back. But Card Kingdom and TCG, not necessarily TCG.
Yeah, I was going to say
Card Kingdom.
Star City Games and Channel Fireball, they are more expensive, but that premium's there because they actually
check the cards.
Every card that they have come in that's a reserve list.
Yeah.
And so they're basically guaranteeing you that is the proper card.
Yep. So those would be if you're worried about buying counterfeit ones.
Now,
there are tests, which we will go into. We're going to do that later.
We plan
in
on doing
episode.
a whole different segment because we spent a whole ton. We just spent a segment on shipping.
Yeah, and we're at our time almost. We're at an hour. Jeez. So, so we're going to actually do another episode with that. At some point.
Do we want to talk about just our experiences real quick?
Yeah.
With it?
So I really have only checked mine when they get over 150 or like $100
when you're doing
to $50
dual lands,
the dual lands. So I just bought a few of the revised duels, and then I actually did the light test to see if they were legit, and they were. But yeah, definitely that's when you kind of start. I mean, you can start it earlier than that, but right now what we're kind of specking on, I don't see as many counterfeits because I'm not buying $50 cards very regularly. And a lot of times it's foil, which we have to kind of look into that. The foils are a little more difficult, but I did read some stuff where people take the foil off and then print a foil card over the top. So it's actually a real foil card.
Interesting.
But it's not the original one. Okay. Yeah. So, but foil's a little bit more difficult to check if they're fake or not. You can't do the light test on those because I tried that. I was like, I wonder if foils work with that, and then nothing came through.
We'll talk about the light test in a different, in that full-on segment. Yeah. We'll have a lot more links that'll get you the actual good information on it. But right now, I think we're just talking in general. We haven't dealt with it a whole ton. I have one card, Concordant Crossroad, that I picked up in 20 cents. From Chronicles, it's like a $10, $15 card right now, but I was trying to trade all of my Concordant Crossroads when they're like $6, $7, and I just kind of looked at it, and it kind of has fading on the picture, almost like it was worn away, and it looks different than every other card that I have. I have Alpha Beta, Unlimited, and this card from Chronicles that looks like no other Chronicles card that I own.
Sometimes they do have bad printings of that stuff.
But do you know how many revised or just cards from that era that I have? None of them looked at like.
Have you tried the light test to it?
I don't even care. I just have it in my collection. I don't want to move it. I don't want to say hey, this is a damaged card and trade it away on accident. I don't want to mess with it. I'll have it there. If it's real,
part of your
real.
collection
not,
now, so you get to use it.
If it's not, it's a really good proxy. And then I've traded with a guy from Germany, so I've gotten a couple like Italian Legends cards, and they look very different from Legends cards, like English version. And that kind of like, I got an Angus Mackenzie that's like $300 right now. And so like I think I did the light test with it. I'd have it.
There's a lot of tests that you can do.
Because it was just so mint. That's what made me curious, and that's something that
it's almost the most perfect ones are.
Yeah, that's the part
ones,
that
but
you want
actually,
to be worried about.
Even some of the counterfeit ones, you hear the stories or you see the videos and all that stuff where they purposely make it look dirty so that it, to make it actually look like a real card, because the mint ones are the ones you got to look out for. Now they'll dirty them up too, just to.
I'll scuff up the baseball to get a little bit better grip.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people out there trying to make money. It's just better that you do it legitly and the right way. And
we'll do an episode on this, but you, in the meantime, if you're trying to figure it out, YouTube, just check fake tests, and there's a bunch of them. The light test is the easiest one to do.
Yeah, I think so. Bend test is scary as
Don't
shit.
do that.
Yeah, don't
do the rip test, because you won't get the card anymore.
That was real.
Damn it.
Tape. So yeah, that I hope that we answered all of the email questions.
Yeah, and thank you guys for all the questions this week.
Yeah, we really felt special.
Yeah, it was very. It was like, whoa, there's another. Oh, there's
what
another.
is going on? And then we also had an email. Somebody sent us the coin flipping commanders, and just like
Adam number 2.
Yeah, and I think that was like Commander Clash, or was that Command Zone or something? So it was just like a quick video.
I told Adam
on
I
like
wasn't going to be able to watch it
built.
this week either. I said, I'll tell me what happens, because I'm not going to be able to get to it till I'm on vacation. So,
so yeah, I'm fine with that kind of stuff too. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So on to our next segment.
Fine.
Smith Specs of the Week. Oh, high five. That was awesome. We made eye contact.
Yeah. I felt that connection.
Yeah. All right, Laura, you start us off.
So what I kind of went with was Conspiracy, and I'm going to specifically state the foil from Time Spiral Time Shifted. So this card is an enchantment, black enchantment, 3 colorless, 2 black. And when it comes into play, you name a creature type, and all creature type, or all your creatures are that type.
Now, what was the reason why you kind of picked this?
So this is like this is the new card that's being.
I guess we better go into this.
This is where we get to do it now. So one thing that me and Adam both recognize, and I think a lot of people do, is that whenever one of the bigger channels talks about cards that you should go and buy, that's something that you need to perk up at. Doesn't mean that they're right, but it means that there's enough people that listen to them, and if there's enough people that believe them, that'll start a buyout and a spike.
Yeah. So, for example, what was it?
We would use Goldfish and Command Zone.
Command Zone are the two that they have a lot of watchers, listeners.
A freaking card. And
so one of the cards that they did this week that I actually just caught my eye, because I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a cool card, is Hammer Mage, because I didn't actually have it.
Which is not my spec.
No, but it's a card that then I checked the foils, and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't have this card. I want to check and see what the foils are doing. And it's an old card. It's from Arcadian Masks. So I checked the foils, and there was only like 6 copies left at like 90 cents. So I picked myself up 4 copies, and then within an hour it was all sold out. And then the other cards that they were mentioning were starting to spike too. This card is currently still sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's because they mentioned it on Command Zone. So things like that, if you're listening to us, listening to the other podcasts,
perk up and be like, hey, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so it's a decent card that can fit in Commander decks, and so that's actually why I went after it. And I was like, oh, well, there's a limited supply. Boom, I'm picking those up. I probably, when I get them, I'll put them on eBay for $10, make whatever. Anyways, so Lowry's spec with this is because
all 3 of my specs are actually based off a video from Goldfish talking about now
standard
cards that were printed in M19
right,
that will be modern legal combos.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of picked cards that seemed reasonable to spec on. And so Conspiracy, again, black enchantment, 3 colorless, 2 black, and then it's whatever creature type you say, all of your creatures are. That's same thing in your deck, in your graveyard. Everything that you have is now that creature type. So demons in your hand,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And the reason why this is because of Liliana's contract, which was printed in M19, that if you have 4 different demons at the beginning of your upkeep with different names, you win the game.
Yeah, so you
And
just
so
start
this
playing a bunch
turns-
of different named creatures, and then you drop this down
Yeah.
and
And,
game one.
that
your next
enchantment
upkeep.
actually has, you draw 4 cards, lose 4 life off of 5 mana
Yeah.
enchantment, but that moves into this. They're on the same color.
Yeah.
And there's a blue
He
version of
used-
this
yeah.
from Ixalan as
Yeah.
well. And I think that's a really good card to get into as well. But I'm just kind of going with
Yeah, and this is
conspiracy
old
here.
school with it, and foils are, you probably get them for about
Yeah.
$9 right now.
Foils are $9. I can see this doubling if it works out.
Two
And I
foil
think
printings. The Marcadian Mask version of that is $17. So you could get the time shifted ones.
And I
for
think just getting
half.
non-foil is fine too, and they're sitting at $3-4
Yeah.
a piece. I think I would just kind of probably avoid the Marcadian Mask foil at 17.
But that was Marcadian. Yeah, sorry, time shifted.
And
is
so
the
I
one
think this is a card that has potential.
yeah, I like it. Yeah, like you said, it keeps you in the same color, black, so you only have to play a mono.
And I think it's perfectly fine in casual, like EDH. Like you
Yeah.
can do this easy.
Yeah, I like it. So mine continues with the walls, and that's
Weird.
Well, it's because they spoiled this, M19 core
So
set
early.
19 so early that we've been able to spec on this for a long time, because now the cards are actually coming out and people are going to start building their wall decks. Overgrown Battlement. I don't think I've mentioned it before. If I did, sorry,
I
I
don't
didn't.
think so.
I didn't do it as a spec. I just was talking about all the different cards for it. But I'm more focused on the foils of the iconic masters, because you can get those for under 70 cents right now. Whereas if you go to the Rise of Eldrazi, those suckers are at $13. Those spiked last week. So I would say go for the iconic masters ones, or as
Yeah.
Larry would
I
say, icanic masters.
I can. I don't think it would get up to 13. Masters foils
No, yeah.
oftentimes don't reach the original printing foils.
Right, but at 70
it-
cents, you're going to get to $6-8, I think.
I totally agree.
When this is all said and done, and you can probably, I have a stack of them that I'm probably going to put up there once it jumps a little bit. So yeah, it's a sweet card in this, because it's going to be in that deck no matter what. This is one of the cards that has to be in there because it gives you.
Did you explain what it does?
No, I didn't. So it's 1 green, 1 colorless. It's an 0/4, but you get to tap it for, you get 1 green for each card that has Defender on it. So as many walls as you have, that's how much money.
It's a
you
wall
get.
deck.
Yeah.
Fits perfectly in that
Yeah.
wall. A lot of people want to make this deck.
Yeah. So it's gonna go. It's a good card to have in there, and it's that card's gonna spike here soon, and it's really pretty when you get it, the foil version. All right, Larry, next spec.
Again, off of a combo, potential modern combo, but I think again it's really solid in zombie tribal EDH decks, which would be Rooftop Storm, which is
5 and 1 blue.
5 colorless, 1 blue, and you can cast your zombies for 0. Basically.
So you just make everything zombies with the other card.
Oh yeah, with conspiracy.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is kind of a combo for modern, but also pretty good, would be the printing of Liliana Untouched by Death, which is you can -3 her, and you can cast zombie spells from your graveyard.
Oh, so
you play
boom, boom,
this.
boom, 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 yeah.
You have this and Liliana in play, and then whatever zombies you have in your graveyard, you get to play them all for free, and then also the ones from your hand all for free. And that, if you've been board wiped in Commander a couple times, you're coming back with a lot of power right there.
I like that. And foils you can probably get for around 5.
Yeah, I would suggest
non-foils around
$5,
$1.
$6. Yeah,
But yeah, I'd probably go for the foils.
I think the
this
foils
case.
have one of the best
Yeah.
chances of going up a lot higher.
Plus, it has some sweet lightning on it. Can you imagine that in foil? Shiny. I don't know. So my next spec is another wall card, but it's Sylvan. So mine kind of a point of why I'm specking on each kind of the foil versions of these, but it's Sylvan Caryatid, and this is the Theros version. There is a buy a box promo one that just recently spiked a little bit there. It's at $10. Yeah, it's kind of jumping all around. It's at $10 right now. Has been as high as 15. But the Theros version you can get for $3 right now. And it's just a solid wall in your wall deck. It's a 1 colorless, 1 green defender, hexproof, and it gives you any color, so it helps you with your
mana fixing.
Yep, and then it also is in a modern deck as well. I believe is that a human deck? I don't remember which one that is.
I don't think.
But that's not the reason why I'm specking on it. It's because of Arcades.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And it's a really good wall.
And I actually like the
have.
art of this better than the buy a box promo art. I bought a bunch of both when Arcades came out, but I don't know. I like the way that it looks better in the Theros version. So I can expect this one to jump up. Maybe not match. I still feel like the buy a box ones are going to go higher.
Yeah, I think the Theros foils that are at 4, I think those can get up to 10.
Yeah,
and then the buy a box 15. Can get higher.
Yeah. So, yeah, pick those up because they're going to go quick. All right, your next one.
So I went with Coretapper, which is a artifact creature for 2, which is a 1/1. Then you can tap it to put a charge counter on... I believe it's an artifact. I can't really read it right now. And then you can sacrifice it to put 2 charge counters on an artifact as well. And so the reason why they were saying that this could be a solid card would be with the printing of Magister's Scepter.
So you get the extra turns.
Yeah, so you can get the extra turns, and you could probably infinitely loop this if you have enough.
I made a deck with this guy before in that Scepter before.
So this is... if somebody this is going to be a core card in that deck if it actually works. But again, I know Adam built years ago before we even started Commander. This Magister Scepter with Coretapper was a deck that you built.
Yep, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, I built this deck. It was pretty. The
foil's sitting around like $7-8. The non-foil's like $1.50. I think both of them are fine to buy.
Yeah,
because it's one of the best adding charge counter cards out there.
Only one printing of that too.
Yep,
I like it. My last one is kind of 2 because they kind of do the same thing.
Because you kind of cheat.
I know. I always do that. Sorry, Larry. But I'm trying to get more information.
We have 3, but I want to have 4 to 5.
Trying to give
them
because all these specs are ones that are going to go like now until they're like. Get these because they're gonna spike. So the first one is Assault Formation to go with the wall deck, and you can go with either or. Iconic Masters you can get for 99 cents. You can get the Dragons of Tarkir.
There's an R in there.
Yeah, couldn't see it that far away. So that one. $2.
Why don't you get a bigger computer screen, Adam?
I need it brighter. But you can get the Iconic Masters for 99 cents. I guess the other difference is Dragons is a rare compared to Iconic is an uncommon. So you're going to have a lot less with Dragons. So either one I would say go for. I got a couple of each. But the reason why this is good, it does the same thing that your commander does, but it's nice to have it. If your commander's died like 4 or 5 times, it's nice to have another option. This is 1 green, 1 colorless enchantment. Each of your creatures assigns damage as for their toughness. So same thing, makes it so walls can attack. Then you tap 1, target creature with defender can attack. And then the other part that's nice is you tap 1 green and 2 colorless. All your creatures get O+1.
Yeah, so it's a pump ability on that.
Yeah, so you make them all freaking huge and whatever. So hugest. And then along the same lines is Wakestone Gargoyle. The Dissension. You can get I'm saying both versions foil of these. The reason I'm saying this is I went and looked because I have both of these. I was going through my foil stuff, and I was like, I'll check out Wakestone and see how that's sitting for inventory. There's barely any left. So this one's going to spike.
It's a primed powder keg.
Yeah, it's about to go. Boom. And so it's a maybe. 1 white, 3 colorless defender with flying, 3/4. You tap 1 white and 1 colorless. Creatures you control with defender can now attack. One thing Larry did point out to me when I told him about this was they don't do the toughness thing. So if your creature's an 07, then you're kind of screwed. But I'm more talking about the inventory of this is pretty limited. If you want to get it before it goes up to $5 to $10, I would get it now and then sell it right away. Because people are going to make their wall decks and then realize I don't need this in my deck. So, but you can get it cheap.
Likely,
You can get it for under $1, like I said, under $1 right now. but there's not much left. Don't spend over $2 on this because it's going to go up to $5 to $10 and then
drop after it.
Right.
Words.
So it's a quick sell. So
Sell.
yeah. So I think that does it for everything.
Yeah, I think that's an episode right
Oh,
there.
one last thing for that.
It's not.
Sorry. It's also a wall. So like when you cast it, if
you draw a card.
You draw a card, whatever. That was the last thing I had in my notes.
Perfect.
But yeah, that does it for our episode, right? I think.
Wait, no.
Lowry, what's your next spec?
I would like to, I don't know. Fuck. I don't plan that far ahead.
Well, you could say that other enchantment, that the blue one that Seth used, whatever.
I don't know what. I try not spec on cards that are like still have a year in standard.
Yeah, that's
it's tough. It's like standard's a volatile market to try and dip your toe into. And that's something like in the future I will start talking about cards that are rotating that I would spec.
Well,
on.
that's going to be in a month or no, a couple months here.
Well, 3 months.
Oh yeah, because we just got a release today. So
yeah,
3 months.
Even though it feels like it's been out a month.
I know
it just came out today.
So yeah, but yeah, that'll be a good segment to talk about all the cards that we should look at.
Yeah,
because I do want to talk about flip cards at that point because
they're not rotating.
Oh yeah, because that's we still got a couple of years.
Yeah. So Kaladesh and Amonkhet blocks are rotating.
So yeah, go for those flip cards.
We agree, and that was
actually we talked about it before. The buy a box stuff ones are really good to go for, but
so we weren't done with the episode.
No, we just keep talking. Just keep talking.
Jibber
You can follow us on Twitter, CommanderSmiths.
And you can email us at CommanderSmiths@gmail.com.
More emails! Woo!
We'll try and respond at a more timely
Well, we
manner.
did it pretty good. It was within a day or
the
two.
first couple were like, where did this come from? They're like 3 days old.
Lowry's sending his notes really early this week. And then subscribe to us on YouTube and leave any positive feedback anywhere. That's the other thing. If you guys want to start leaving feedback, we're starting to get some, but feedback on whatever your listening device that you listen to us on, that'd be great, because then the more we get of that, the more other people can hear us.
Yeah, we saw somebody like on Twitter like retweet us and say that they really enjoyed us, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah,
we appreciate it so much that we don't remember who did it.
I would if I
don't take notes.
I can find it really quick.
I want to say
it
was like last name Swain.
You're just making guesses now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we appreciate that. More feedback, all that stuff. Great ratings would be great.
And if you actually enjoy us, tell people that you like us.
Yeah.
And then
spread the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in Jesus?
No, that's not where I'm going.
That's what you said. Spread the word.
I wasn't talking about that word.
It is the word.
Yeah. And then I said God. Went religion at the end of this. All right. Anyways.
Sounder.
No. Not if I have anything to do with it.
You have everything to do with it.
All right. Well, that should do it for this week. We will see you guys next week on my day I come back from vacation.
Woo! No. Okay. Yeah, I stole your woo. Sorry.
Oh, it's a woo together. It's kind of like
I'm not really that excited for you to go.
Specs of the week. Anyways,
you're leaving me.
We will see you guys later. Bye. Oh, you kept it quiet. You didn't say. Now it just sounds weird that I said it like that. What the hell?
Let's go with that eye connection thing again.
They can't hear our eyes connect. Sounds mushy.